So for the number one quarterback, number one player in the class of 2025, Bryce Underwood, I understand the hometown team, Michigan, trying to get into the mix and to try to flip him from LSU. I totally get that. However, from a football perspective, I don't know if I get the fit all that much. We'll talk about that right now, but first things first, make sure you are subscribed right here to the On3 YouTube channel, talking recruiting, talking about the greatest sport on the face of planet Earth, college football, every single day. Want y'all a part of this. Make sure you're dialed in. I promise you we will follow this recruitment all the way until the ink is dry on National Signing Day. Also want to make sure you know, the hard count brought to you by our friends over at Prize Picks. We have a square that we really like for the Alabama-LSU game here a little bit later in this segment. I want to preface with this. What I'm about to tell you is purely my opinion. I do not have intel as it pertains to Bryce Underwood and where things stand with his recruitment. All I'm going off of is what has been reported and my opinion. So the report is that Michigan, like I mentioned at the top of this thing, they are trying to get into the mix. The report is they are trying to essentially match LSU, or they have matched LSU rather, on the NIL front when it comes to trying to ultimately win the commitment and flip Bryce Underwood from LSU. So, with that being said, if NIL makes the difference, paired with the potential and the opportunity to stay home if you're Bryce Underwood, and that's a reason why he flips from LSU to Michigan, incredible. Awesome, because that's something if you're LSU, it's hard to defend against. Like if that's the reason, like he wants to stay home and he can make an equal amount of money, like, hey, that's a matter of the heart, it's a matter of the emotion. It's just kind of something you charge to the game that is recruiting. It's unpredictable, it's wild, like it is what it is. But if this comes down to purely a football decision, and we're going to go ahead and say that NIL, with it being equal, would cancel each other out, barring some wild change in the offensive schematics at Michigan, which very much so I suppose could be a potential scenario, I don't see the football fit for Bryce Underwood to not honor his commitment, or stick with his commitment rather, and go to LSU. And that's not me trying to speak down to Michigan, but just in the context of who Bryce Underwood is as a football player. Like, my guy is a special athlete, all right? He can throw the football, he can run the football, he is dynamic in every sense of the word. The system at Michigan, again, barring something that we haven't seen this year, or barring some change offensively, like they're a 60% of the time run the football team. They have a fullback in the game, if that tells you anything. And I love the fullback. I mean, I'm a pro fullback to the nth degree. But if I'm Bryce Underwood, I want to spin it. I want to have a chance to run the ball. I want to spread it out. I want us to be able to just maximize my abilities as a quarterback, as a football player. That's what LSU, in my opinion, would offer. Look at what they're doing with Joe Sloan. In a lot of ways, picking up in a similar sense where Mike Denbrock left off a year ago with Jaden Daniels. That's the other part of this too. If it's about showing off for the NFL and development for the NFL, look at the quarterback track record at LSU these past couple of seasons. Now, J.J. McCarthy at Michigan, top 10 pick, 100%. You put that in the bucket on the pros and cons list for, or the pros side, I suppose, for Michigan. Totally true. But I'm looking at what the track record is recently here under Brian Kelly. Jaden Daniels just won the Heisman Trophy last year, and LSU didn't even make the college football playoff. Did ridiculous numbers like Goodwill Hunting did Jaden Daniels. And currently, Garrett Nussmeier, while it would be a little bit shocking if he won the Heisman Trophy, currently he is top 10 in yards in America. He is top 10 in passing touchdowns in America. The Prize Pick square we love for this game against Alabama, his passing yard total is set at 290.5. Take the more there. All right, he has consistently cleared that number. I believe 4 out of the last 5 games, he has cleared that passing yard total. So go ahead and take the more there. Code HARDCOUNT, $5 in lineups, gets you $50 in promo funds when you use code HARDCOUNT. So all that's to say now, with the system, with the quarterback track record, I think the fit for Bryce Underwood, again, from a football perspective, is extremely solid. I think if I'm LSU, again, there's some things that you just can't totally account for. You can't defend against the potential of a kid last minute. And again, this is not me telling you it's going to happen. I'm saying if this were to happen, if Bryce Underwood were to say last minute, actually, I want to stay in my home state of Michigan. And I was about the same, I want to be close to home. Okay, Chargers the game. But again, if I'm LSU, if NIL cancels each other out in this discussion, I'd feel really confident about my pitch from a football perspective if I'm LSU. I would also add this. When you talk about the trajectory of a program, I feel like you have a good gauge for what Brian Kelly's LSU is going to be. In 2 years, they have won 10 games twice. They are currently working on their third top 10 recruiting class. Brian Kelly, I understand it's still relatively early. I feel like you kind of know where this thing is trending. And then you pair that with Brian Kelly's track record as a head coach, period. Like, he's going to win football games. One of one of the best winning percentages in college football for as many games as he's coached, at least currently. Sherrone Moore, as good a coach I think he's going to be at Michigan, as good as Michigan's going to be, and I think Michigan's going to be really solid. But when does that happen? Is that next year? Is that in 3 years? Does it get turned around to, or I guess not turned around, get back to national title caliber once Bryce Underwood is a junior? Like, when does that all happen? If I'm Bryce Underwood, with my skill set, with the fit, with the quarterback development, with trajectory, I think LSU makes a lot of sense. Again, hear me clearly. This is not intel. If you want intel, subscribe to the On3 Recruits channel. Josh Newberg, killing it on the Inside Scoop. Steve Wiltfong, the Wiltfong Whip Around. You want to get recruiting scoop? Make sure you're locked in there. But this, purely my opinion, purely speculating, and I'm excited to see how things unfold across the college football recruiting landscape as we are full speed ahead towards National Signing Day. Make sure you're locked in. Make sure you're subscribed. Appreciate using that code HardCount, $5 in lineups, $50 in promo funds at PrizePicks.com. We appreciate y'all. We love y'all. Going to keep this party rolling. We will see y'all next time.